Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Reverman.
So, Dean, when you go to sporting events, I know you like to go to some sporting events here
Absolutely.
and there, baseball, maybe football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you generally like the experience when you go? And I'm not just talking about like the game itself. That can very much depend on, how the team's doing. And
Well, it depends on the company I'm with, but
Okay.
in general, yes. Still love going to sporting events and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you go? You go to Reds games, right?
I go to a lot of Reds. Well, maybe not as many as I used to. My son's starting to take a little more of an interest in, going to sporting events. So, we've taken him a few times, but I enjoy it. I like the atmosphere always. Yep. But I will admit, things have changed a lot.
Oh, my
gosh. Go to a stadium and a sporting
Absolutely.
event.
Yeah.
Even just in the
some
last...
for the good, some for the
Yeah,
not
even just
so
like the
good.
last 10, 20 years, stuff has changed so much. I remember, not that long ago, you go, buy a beer and something to snack on and watch a game.
Sit
and that
down
was
and
pretty
have
much
a good time. Yeah. No. That's not enough now anymore,
it's
John.
not. It's not for the young. Let's say the younger generations, not us.
It's not us.
Like, you and I can probably still just do that, but younger folks expect a little bit.
They need
more
a little bit more.
out of. They expect an experience.
This is true.
Technology obviously is starting to play a bigger role.
Oh my gosh!
We got to talk tech because that's what this podcast is about. It's making stadiums a little bit smarter. It's making them more engaging for the fans. It's indulging some of the younger crowd that likes to have a lot more technology and be more interactive. Yeah, exactly, with their experiences. So that's our topic for today. We're talking about smart stadium technology.
Oh, I like it.
We've got Elo's Raimon Chikhani joining us today to talk about this.
Yep.
We're going to get into what's going on at sporting events, where things stand as far as attendance rates and what we're looking at, and maybe why people aren't going to sporting events. We're going to talk about the experience and how it has changed, how technology is becoming involved, and where we think there's,
Is the game even necessary anymore with all this tech going on?
Some people I see at games doesn't seem like the game is actually what they're there for.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little about sports betting and gaming technology and how that's influencing what's happening in stadiums. And we're going to get into, obviously, digital signage in particular and how that fits in, because that's, that's what Elo's specialty is.
Heck yeah. Ramon knows a little bit of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
All that plus our usual value to the VAR. What's TEConnecting with us? It's time to plug in and get connected.
Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. It's time to get connected.
All right, as I mentioned, our guest today is Raimon Chikhani. He is the Director of Strategic Accounts for Elo. Raimon, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate having you on the show. Tell us a little about yourself, your background. Maybe explain why you're the guy that we were told we need to go to.
Yeah, the go-to guy
for smart stadium discussions too. Because I reached out and was like, hey, we want to have a talk about this. I feel like this is a conversation we've got to have. And Elo immediately said, "Oh, Ramon's your guy.
We got the guy."
So I'm curious why that is. So tell us what's going on there.
Well, first off, thanks for having me, you guys. It's a pleasure to be here and spend this time with you. I've been with Elo for a long time and been in this space for quite some time, working with a lot of different, value-added partners, whether it's from the ISV side or from the reseller side, installing and working in that space with Elo products. We've done many stadiums across the country, both for all the different sports leagues, whether it's the NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, a lot of college stadiums, NBA. Spent close to 10 years working with many of these VARs and ISVs to find the best customer experience and customer engagement tools, whether it's through self-service, digital signage, point of sale, also working on the back of house and back kitchen and retail technologies to find the best fits to make things a lot easier for the customer and a lot easier for the employee to use. Right. So we've seen just things change over over the 10 years that I've been at Elo, to see, how things have gotten faster, how things have gotten smarter, just easier for the customer to go about their time and experience the event that they're attending. Right. So, we've seen, different things of facial rec and obviously mobile technologies, integrated into the point of sale, whether it's also for point of sale using, employee first, and then, for instance, if there's not an employee at that space, you'd be able to flip the device around and use it as a self-service technology. The digital signage, the immersive digital signage, you have so many large displays that are non-interactive in the stadiums these days, right? But then also kind of bridging the gap to where now they're moving to where they're having those large format devices more interactive and engaging with the customers, for whether it's for the retail experience, for self-service checkout, to get their food and their drink quickly, or let's say their retail, their hats and their caps and their shirts and whatever else they're going to buy from the stadium. So it's been awesome to see.
There you go. Well, hey, obviously you've got some experience with this and see what's going on there. And again, I think there's a lot of interesting opportunities, obviously, for VARs and ISVs to go out and win some business.
Absolutely.
And I know people usually get excited about these too, because that's usually a pretty big opportunity when you can win some business at a stadium or a sporting arena of some sort. So let's talk about going to these events. And obviously, for a lot of people at this point, it can be very costly, time consuming. You go to a baseball game, and I mean, again, that's where I primarily go.
3 hours later.
I mean, like, even as much as they're trying to shorten the game, the time it takes to get there, to park, to get inside, to do the game, to get out, to go home, like, you're sucking up most of a day just to do that. Not to mention what you're spending to go and to eat and do all that kind of stuff. But attendance is still pretty good in most of the major sporting leagues. A lot of it's bounced back to at least at or above even pre-COVID levels. And I'll put some links in the show notes. As always, there was one really interesting link that kind of showed the progression of
it's fascinating
of attendance at various events, and and obviously how it dropped off during the pandemic and what's come back and where we are. And I think at least a couple of them were again right at or even growing past where they've been in the pre-COVID days. So why do you think fans keep coming back at this point? And again, keeping in mind that we've got younger generations who maybe don't view sporting events quite the same way, and yet are still showing up for these.
Well, obviously, during COVID, everybody was locked up at home, right? And then after, everybody wants to get out and spend some time, right? But as I think what you said a few minutes ago around the expense of it, I think a lot of the stadium owners and the sports team owners want to make it easier for the customers to come and spend time and spend money, right? Trying to find the easiest way to get them into their seats, spending money, whether it's through food and drink, just trying to find the best, easiest way. I feel like a lot of people are living in Las Vegas here. We have many different sporting events in Las Vegas, right? We've got the new Raider Stadium. We've got T-Mobile Arena with the NHL Stanley Cup champion Golden Knights here.
Plug.
Yeah, you're gonna have baseball soon, right?
Baseball soon. We've got the Sphere. We've got many different experiences. Just had F1 here in Vegas. So seeing the different immersive experiences at the stadiums, I think that's where a lot of the people want to go and experience these things, right? Because that's what we do. I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing it with our friends, our family, a lot of people that are wanting to come to Vegas and go to different areas to see, sporting events. It's always gonna be a draw. It's always going to be a good draw.
I think so too, Raimon. I mean, when you think about it, why do people go to sporting events? It's live. It's still live action, right? In our world of computers and sitting in front of a screen all day long, or maybe watching shows that are, pre-made and produced and things of that nature. There's an excitement about live sports. And I don't know why we Americans and the world really has kind of an insatiable appetite for live sports. I mean, soccer or world football is like number one, right? It's like ravenous.
Well, I mean, there's a big difference between jumping up and cheering in your living room and jumping up and cheering with 20, 30, 40,000 other people.
Of your best friends.
Yeah.
There's a community in that as well. So I think, it gets the whole escaping the everyday life and stuff like that. But Raimon hit the nail on the head in the sense that, what I have noticed is the pivot for all teams now are getting customers, attendees, to spend more time and money.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Like when you go to a baseball game now, you're spending way more than you did, in the sure, you can just do a pretzel and a beer.
Right.
Which I did last time. But you take kids, there's an opportunity to do so much more than that. There's fan experiences. There's there's now gift shops where you can buy the bat of Joey Votto or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, and that's just a little bit of what's happening and all the interactive technology that's starting to happen. So they really wanted you to have like a full day there, and they don't mind you. And I guess a lot of people, right, are like, you and I might be a little different, but if they're going to invest in the time to go there, they want an experience. Gosh darn it, right? Like this is a special thing, and I'm going to invest in the technology to make that happen. So, right, that's the pivot. Exactly. Now all these teams are investing in this stuff. So it's crazy,
and that kind of leads us into our next topic here. And Raimon, what were you going to add there?
I was just going to say they're making it easier for you to spend your money.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Making it much easier. They want to have you immersed into the experience. They want you, like you said, you're cheering with 20-some thousand of your best friends. You're going to wear the gear. You're going to get the food. And they're making it much, much, much easier to do that, whether it's through self-service, whether it's through new technologies, mobile technologies, just different ways for them to find a way for you to spend money easier, right? And faster.
Well, then the experience side of that too, because to your all's point, when you go to stadiums now, especially as they're building newer ones or ones that are doing any kind of remodeling, whereas once upon a time you just dropped a stadium in the middle of a big concrete slab of parking and everybody just showed up and went to the game. I feel like now you're seeing like whole little like kind of, entertainment venues and little mini cities and mini community areas popping up around. Even here in Cincinnati, they've built up around our ballparks, these kind of really nice areas where you can go and there's little restaurants, there's little pop-up shops, they shut down the streets, right? It's meant to be something where like a large crowd gathers outside. You park somewhere else, you come by, you're hanging out outside. When the gates open, you go inside, you do stuff there. And I think a lot of this is about the younger generations and what their expectations are when they go places and the experiences they want. So got a few stats here that came from, what site was this? PR Newswire. They gave a few stats about generational trends when it came to sporting events.
All right.
A couple I want to point out. In terms of attending live events in person, 25% of Gen Z fans cited experiencing events with friends or family as the most enjoyable aspect, underscoring the significance of social connections both in person and online. In addition, when attending a live sporting event in person, 43% of Gen Z fans use their mobile device to post to social media during the
event.
So it's not just hey, I want to go watch my favorite team. I mean, that could be part of it. But and this is one of those things that I think I've come to accept in my opinion about this, because there was a point in time where I would go to games and I'm sitting there intently watching, and there's a group of younger folks around me, and they're all chatting, goofing off, and they're on their phones, and they're just having fun, they're drinking or whatever. Stuff happens in the game, and the rest of us are cheering, and they're still sitting. They just kind of look up like, oh, clap, like. And I always found that annoying. Like, what are you doing here? But I realize now, like, it's about like, hey, this is a place where they get to come together and spend time and hang out. Instead of, it's not so much you're going to a game and you might socialize. It's a social event that just happens to have a game as well at this point.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about that part, Raimon. How are teams and stadiums and stadium personnel, how are they taking technology and incorporating that into their facilities and into what's happening with them and happening with the game experience in order to turn that into a very unique event for the attendees?
Sure. You hit the nail on the head earlier. You said, now they're just in Cincinnati, they're doing the same thing in Vegas and a lot of different areas around stadiums with the new hospitality areas, whether it's new restaurants, new areas for people to chill and listen to music. We're seeing it. And, I remember going back maybe 10 years ago and going to a game. You want to get in to the stadium as fast as you can, park, get in there as fast as you can, watch the game, and then get out as fast as you can. Now it has completely changed. You're spending the day, you're going around to the different shops, you're going around to the different restaurants. You want to make sure that you're seeing everything that's around it, because there is so many different things around these stadiums, right? And they've had to kind of pivot on the technology side to make things more robust, right? You were saying that everybody's on their phone and posting and doing different stuff. Think about the wireless and the infrastructure that they have to have to support, 30,000, 20,000 people using their phone at the same time, taking pictures or also making purchases at the same time, whether it's a hospitality purchase or a retail purchase. So, they've really had to go back to the drawing board and talk to companies like Elo and like many others to think about, hey, what's the best way for us to, when we're building these stadiums or revamping these stadiums for these new experiences, what's the best way to do it, right? So we've worked really closely with many of the different purveyors to kind of walk through the different technologies that are available these days and see what they're looking for is kind of the main thing, right? Trying to find the best fit for what they're needing. But like I said, self-service technology. I've noticed at the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. I was there for a Raiders game earlier this year, and there's actually a new kind of walk-in self-service store for food and drink that you don't even there's no employees. You walk in, it's blocked off. You walk in, scan your credit card. If you already have an account set up with Amazon, you can go and either swipe your palm or do facial rec. Go get everything that you want, and that you walk through a little gate, and it reads all the stuff that you have in your hand. You confirm, and you walk right out. Makes it super easy. And then you see all the self-service technology, mobile technology. I mean, you see people making wagers on their phones these days as well. So it's quite the experience. I mean, being able to see it and see every time you go, you're going to see something new, and depends on which city you're going to. So there's all these new emerging technologies, new stuff that's happening that people are trying to adopt all around the country or all around the world.
Yeah, and in our world, what I noticed recently, the whole stadium personnel, which is a part of the question here, and enabling them with mobile technology. So I was at a UC football game, and I used to feel so bad. Like just 2 years ago, for the guys and gals that go up and down the aisles with the concessions, right? The beer guy, right? Who wants a beer or whatever, and nobody would hail that guy because it was cash. And who carries cash anymore?
Yeah,
I always felt bad for these guys. I'm like, they at least need a Venmo account. Well, for the first time, I just went to a game, 2 weekends ago. Now they have a mobile payment device. That dude was so busy. He didn't, it's like back to the old days. Like he didn't make it all the way up to the top of the thing. He was empty by the time. It's like, so you have to use technologies, right? They have to use this of where people are. But what excites me is maybe some of this other technology that's coming down. Like, for example, we've been talking about augmented reality for a long time, but I can totally see a world where you're putting your phone up and watching, because believe it or not, I still find this fascinating that you're at a live game. Most people have their phone out recording the game.
Right.
It's like, dude, no, what are you doing? Right. But anyway, I can see them augmenting that with like statistics or something like that, and drawing stuff on the field.
Because it's happening like on the broadcast. When you watch a game on television, you're getting so much more data and info than you ever did before.
Yeah. Now you got multi-channels that you can watch or whatnot. So I think I'm looking forward to some of that stuff coming in play. But getting back to kind of what teams are doing in the fan experience, we're seeing it. It's more interactive games. It's just more interactivity, right? Once we got them in the space, and I think that's why Elo and folks like ISVs that they work with are really going to have a tremendous run here, because it just feeds right into that experience, right? Everybody knows how to use a touch screen, and that's kind of the de facto, that's the expectation, right? I'm walking in, I'm interacting with something, I'm making it my experience and stuff like that. So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
It has to be robust too. It has to be robust. You made that mention. That was the first time I've ever seen one of the beer cart guys walking up the aisleway and carrying a mobile device. And nine times out of 10, I was watching them. 9 times out of 10, people are using their phone to tap to pay.
That's it. Yep.
So you have somebody, let's say you're in the middle of a row that's 50 seats long. The guy is handing his mobile device to people 25 people down for you to tap to pay.
Yeah.
Right? So he's handing that device for you to do your tip, do your tap to pay, and then hand it back. I probably saw 10 different people drop that, tablet onto the ground, that mobile device onto the ground. They pick it up, wipe it off, and keep on going. Those things, I mean,
dude, never thought about that. It's got to be ultra rugged, right? It's getting beer spilled on it. Yeah. It's got mustard on the side. It's got, right.
You're holding your beer with one, trying to tap with your other, make a tip, and do whatever you need to do. I mean, I was quite shocked actually to see, I mean, how fast that he went through his tub of beer and waters and all the different drinks that he had, how fast it was. And just, halfway up the grandstands.
That's fantastic. Well, I think too, when you get into the experiential stuff, like, and the idea of bringing in the younger generations, also, like, let's be honest, everything is motivated by the influencer culture right now, especially when it comes
apparently
to the younger
so, yes, right? Mm-hmm.
The expectation that if you want to get more people to come to something that you're doing, if you can get someone who is well known, a popular influencer, to show it off on TikTok or on Reels, or or sort of stream it, or discuss it on Facebook, wherever it is, if you want that, maybe not Facebook anymore, let's be honest, but if you want that to happen, you've got to make something fun and interesting about it that's going to get them there. And that's why I feel like you start seeing so many of these places that are offering up these really cool, like, lounge areas that are really more about just hanging out and socializing, and the game's going on kind of in the distance. And if you want to go watch it, there's some seats, you can go do that, but it's more about just having the fun chill time. And that's where everyone is taking their selfies, and where they're uploading their images, and they're doing some streaming or whatever. I even look at, like, if you think about, like, the whole Taylor Swift phenomenon of this year, and the Travis Kelce of it all, how much good just her starting to show up for some games and bring her culture and her very internet connected culture into football all of a sudden. And you get people coming in like, I don't know what this Kelce guy is or what these football
but
things
we're here.
But we're here because Taylor's here. I mean, and it's not even just someone like that, but just, again, it could be just whoever your favorite influencer is, that one day is they're at their local sporting event, or they're out of town somewhere. And it could very well be like a paid sponsorship or something, but they're showing up and they're live streaming and they're talking about, hey, I'm here and I just went to this really cool bar and I'm trying out this awesome burger they've got here. That's the kind of, like, free marketing that any sporting team is going to be like, yes, we're all in for that. It doesn't matter if someone wants to show up, because they care about the sporting event. If they're showing up because they just want to try out the food or go see the cool place that their favorite gaming person, was checking out. That's, again, it's all about the idea of, like, if people show, I'm sure most of these stadium owners and these, venue owners are like, hey, we just want people to show up here. We don't care if you're here for the game. We don't care if you're here to socialize. If you show up and you're spending money and you're doing all the things, great. We welcome you in. We want you here. Right. Yeah. Again, maybe the old school guys like us might be a little frustrated sometimes.
Get out of my way. I'm here to see here to see a baseball game.
Exactly. But, whatever. We get our time in still too.
Yeah,
so.
Sure.
Well, so you mentioned earlier, Raimon, the whole sports betting thing, and, like, people doing betting on their phones was becoming wildly popular. It's growing. We had Jim Foster on from ELO last year talking about the sports betting, the game technology, and that was kind of the context of, like, the separate parlors that might be doing this. But obviously legalized sports betting is continuing to grow, and it's starting to seep into the actual stadiums. It's seeping into broadcasts. You'll see sometimes, like, stats pop up with the odds of a player hitting a home run or getting a touchdown, or you want to bet the over on the yardage for this team.
Yeah.
Not something I'm into. I just don't have the time and effort and the disposable income to
do that. No.
Fantasy sports is where I limit myself when it comes to that. But obviously, it's making an impact. So, where do you see that making a bigger impact in stadiums, and what's going to keep happening with these experiences?
Yeah, we do. I see it in different states, right, that allow gaming. Whether it's devices that are at the end of the bar or stand-up devices that you can go and make a wager on. You made that the prop bets. I can't believe how many different people place different prop bets on different things, whether somebody's going to fumble first or they're going to get a safety first or whatever it is, right? Or something's going to happen and people are betting on it. So they're just trying to make it easier. You can obviously do it from your mobile device, but they're also making it easier for the customer to, walk in, make at a freestanding kiosk, make a wager. I'm seeing it a lot in Las Vegas and all in Nevada, but in other states as well that allow gaming too. Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy. I'm with you. The sports betting thing, I don't get it. I'm trying to get into it with my son. He's 23, so he's much more of the age that gets into that. But I can see the technology of enabling that. Obviously, the touchscreen technology and wanting to enable that because let's face it, whether you like it or not, it's here and people are doing it. And And it's just it's fast becoming a part of the culture,
right,
of being able to enable betting, during the game and making that a frictionless experience too. I mean, what better way to separate people from their money than offer up some betting, right?
No doubt. But man, it's one of those things. Like, I hope it doesn't start interfering with the games too much. Like, I don't want to be sitting there and like having angry bettors that are just screaming at the home team, even though they're winning, just because they're not covering the spread or something. Or
I just lost, right?
Or hit only a single instead of a home run or something. Or like, oh man, you only got me 10 yards. I needed 15. Like stuff like that. I mean, right. I'm hoping that doesn't become a big part of the experience there, is people just getting mad about their betting necessarily. And I'm also waiting, in the back of my mind, being a Cincinnati fan, I always think of the Pete Rose of it all too.
Oh, sure.
Is it going to start becoming a problem for the players themselves at any point?
Yeah.
But from a technology standpoint, yes, I think, it's again, obviously there's another one more angle where you can potentially drive some revenue for a stadium, for a sporting event. It may be something where maybe the stadium's not necessarily getting money out of it, but maybe just, again, the act of being able to bring people in to do that. And, I don't know, maybe these companies are paying to put up their kiosk and have their software.
Right.
I'm sure they're all, I know it's one of those things where there's so many different, betting, online betting services out there that I'm sure they're competing heavily to see who can get a contract to be the official betting service of a certain sports team or a certain venue of some sort. So I think there's going to be some interesting opportunities that keeps growing and spreading, and more states are adopting it, and more of the sporting the teams and the leagues start actually folding it into their the ongoing broadcasts and the actual events themselves too. Well, then let's wrap up here by talking about digital signage. We've touched on it several times in different contexts here, and obviously that's ELO's big specialty here. And I know again, I think a lot of VARs, when they think of sporting events and think of these venues, they might be thinking like, all right, if I can get a point of sale system in, or maybe some menu boards or whatever behind the the concession stands, that's where my money's going to be. But there's a lot more opportunity for digital displays out there. So where are you seeing interesting, unique places that displays are being deployed? And where can VARs find some new and unique opportunities that they could go out and sell to their customers, or recommend that they install that would give them new opportunities to sell this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts from the moment you walk into the stadiums, right? Whether it's the handheld devices, obviously procuring and managing those devices, support and services on those devices, those robust and rugged devices, right? They have to be, because all the employees have one in their hands. And then we also see ticketing, right at the front. A lot of people will get tickets on their phones, or even still have paper tickets, or actually still buying tickets. You have the ability to go up and buy from the ticket booths, as well as from the self-service kiosks. That's a great spot, right? And think about each one of these stadiums. You've got, all the entrances, all the employees. Every interaction with a device is probably 300 to 500 devices per stadium. So it's not just like a normal restaurant, right? So then you have your digital signage, wayfinding, trying to find different areas of the stadium where your seats are at, some of the different stores or some of the different restaurants, because they have specialty restaurants inside some of these stadiums. Then you have traditional point of sale. You have self-service kiosks for retail and hospitality. You have kitchen displays on the back end. You have there's so many different other options, right, that are there. Mobile technology, as I mentioned before, for all the people walking around. The retail stores have it, like I said. From the retail side, from the hospitality side, you've got point of sale, back of house, kitchen displays, self-service kiosks, many different areas. I mean, so many that you wouldn't even think of, walking in and seeing it, and then wow, it piques your interest to see those different applications.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what I've also noticed, and I think here's where some of the opportunity for the reseller comes in, at least the small to medium-sized reseller, is more localized, events like high school stadiums and college stadiums and things of that nature. I mean, there's tremendous amount of opportunity there, because all this technology that is seen at what I'll call the major league level is trickling down, right? So, I mean, I go to the football game of our local high school, and And I'm perplexed. They've got the technology, but they're not using the right technology, right? I mean, it gets back to the whole argument that I'm sure Raimon has been addressing for over a decade now. It's like, okay, you need purpose-built versus consumer grade.
Right. Someone's using their iPhone with a cracked screen,
I'm not going to put an outdoor kiosk that is, some janky thing that's going to,
Right.
I don't know, whatever. You name the brand. It wasn't designed for outdoor, the rigors of outdoor. And so, resellers, if you have that in your pitch and you understand the technology to where Raimon was going with the ruggedized mobile devices and the great M series that Elo has, I mean, these are differentiators, right?
Yep.
But these are devices that are purpose built for these types of applications. So you start getting into that argument. But anyway, there's opportunity there, right? All this stuff is trickling down. I mean, local high schools want interactive things where people can go up to a kiosk and whether it's sports history that they're seeing or something along the lines, polling or just interactiveness of the environment, it's even getting down to that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think, if you, as always, if you're a good salesperson, you go and you experience and explore and put yourself in the shoes of a consumer to figure out where there might be bottlenecks and problems and issues that could be solved with technology.
Yep.
And I think this is another clear example where you just go to an event at one of these places, look around, pay attention, find out like what is the concession experience like, what is the experience like of doing stuff in your seat. What are you seeing when people are roaming up and down the aisles? How easy was it for you to find your way? Is there opportunities for like wayfinding? Is there
absolutely.
Is there opportunities for kiosks out there in certain places? Just find out where the opportunities exist by paying attention to what's actually going on, and that helps you make smarter references. I think of things too, like even stuff as simple as, I know when I go to Reds games, I feel like they're still using some very old school televisions by the concession stands.
Yes.
So that when you're standing in line and you want to keep an eye on the game, and I'm always looking at it like, I can't see half of what's on this. I can't even see the score. Can't make out who's playing. I can barely hear the audio. Like that's just something like just put up a nice wide screen display, to make that a little at least easier to see. Or I think of things like the shops, the pro shops. Everyone always wants to get people into those pro shops, buying that merchandise. Having options for ship to home, having a self-service kiosk in there, or a kiosk where, because you know how it is, sometimes you go and you're like, man, this jersey's awesome, I'd love to get this, not in my size. And wouldn't it be great to be able to just scan that on a kiosk, put your size in, put your address info in, or use your mobile device payment or whatever, and just have it shipped to your house or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier, like the VR and AR stuff. Like, how much fun is that going to be when you can start incorporating that into things too? So I just think there's a lot of potential opportunities out there that people need to be looking for. Remember, what were you going to add there?
I was going to say, I mean, purpose-built devices, right? Whether it's point of sale, self-order, self-checkout, KDS, signage, whatever it is in the stadium. Buy online, pick up in store, buy, in store, ship to home, those types of things. You can customize a jersey, buy it, customize it, and pick it up at the stadium, right? And you also want to make sure there's all those different pop-up locations, whether it's for retail or whether it's for food and drink, right? So you have to make sure that those devices are connected too, secured and connected. So that's another thing that they want to make sure that they think about. The IT leaders for these stadiums want to make sure they know everything that's going on with those devices in the stadium, make sure they're connected, secured. So that's definitely something that obviously our VARs and our partners need to think about as well, too.
Yeah. Another thing if I could go down a vein here and maybe Raimon, get your take on this, because you brought it up earlier. And when you think about the experience and the desire for more frictionless, I think it's really important for resellers to understand the hardware along the way and what certain brands like Elo are bringing to the table as far as multi-purpose kind of devices. You're talking about the one point of sale system, Raimon, where it can act as a point of sale, or you can flip the screen and it can turn into a kiosk. I mean, how brilliant is that, right? So like it can be an unattended kiosk, and we always love this word about Elo, by the way, modularity. That's right. We know that your stuff, all your gear is like
all the connectivity.
It's hyper modular in the sense that you can plug in and stuff like that. But that's kind of where all this technology is going, right? You need to enable these stadiums with, okay, well, so we don't have an attendant, but we can flip this around. It can turn into a self-serve kiosk. And or if somebody has cash or something like that, okay, now we flip it in some POS mode type of thing, right? So I guess, you're having those conversations. I guess this is what's driving ELO to innovate in those ways, right?
It is. That's a great point, Dean. We see it with, the connectivity of the devices too, being able to run different content, being able to, instead of having to go and touch each device and image each device with a specific, let's say, app or point of sale platform, you want to be able to flip it to where it's, a customer facing application. So it makes it easier for the customer to see pictures of the food, pictures of the clothing, whatever it is that they're buying, and make it as easy as possible on them. That connectivity in those stadiums as well is imperative to have all those devices, exactly what those devices are doing. And, we have obviously a mobile device platform called EloView that helps manage all those devices, purpose built, managing your complete estate.
Yeah. In fact, I walked up to one of the counters, and it was in that mode where it was flipped around. It was it was for food. This was the example here. And I walk up but I started talking to the person like I'm going to give them my order, and they looked at me and looked down at the POS. I'm like, oh, sorry, dude. Yeah, I get it. So I just placed my order, and they're just the food runner.
They put their finger on your lips.
Yeah.
Down there, bud.
Good stuff.
I saw one of the stats from some of the different articles, obviously around these topics and other self-service. 70% of people would prefer to use the self-service kiosk and go up and walk up and talk to somebody. 70%. Think about that, you guys. Think about the people that are walking in and going and using these self-service devices. So when these articles and these metrics come out, you think about the leaders at some of these stadiums and different venues that are like, wow, 70% of people would rather go up and walk and use a device instead of going up and telling somebody what they want.
70% of people are more like you,
I
don't want to talk to anybody.
That's right. I just
it's an ongoing joke.
I want to get my stuff. I don't want to deal with people. Sure, I got to sit in a stadium with a bunch of them, but
whatever. I'll go up over in the corner where there's nobody.
That's right. Go sit in the nosebleeds where I've got like a whole rows of empty rows around me.
Yeah. Good stuff.
See, it doesn't work with the family though. Like my wife's like, no, I want to be as close to the field as possible.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, but I don't care where I sit, So,
right. Yeah. Good. Oh man.
All right. Well, this is good stuff and good. I think good ideas for how to go out and sell some smart stadium technology. But we'll wrap things up here in a moment with Raimon talking a little bit more about how ELO in particular is helping out our VARs to go out there and win this business. But first of all, as always, I want to thank our sponsors here on the TEConnect podcast. Big thanks to ELO, who is one of those sponsors. Right. They've been supporting our show and our TEConnect program for as long as we've been
since the beginning
doing all of those things.
They're a foundational partner.
We appreciate what you guys do for us. We appreciate you loading Raimon to us for this conversation. Hey, if you like the show, you need to tell us, as always.
Yep.
You leave a review. Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Let us know what you think about the show. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about this. Tell us about some interesting smart technology that you encountered the last time you were out at a sporting event.
Yeah.
And as always, tell us what you want to hear about on the show, too.
We'll take ideas.
We are close to wrapping up our 2023 season here.
Got to build out 2024. So you got ideas, bring them.
I got a few ideas, but I need more. I need a lot more, and I need guests, and I need ideas. So send that stuff over to us. We always want to hear from you. You can always, there's a link in the show notes where you can drop us an idea. We'll send you a TEConnect podcast t-shirt. We got to get on redesigning those for the new year.
Yeah.
So we can start getting some more t-shirts out.
Yes.
Just for sending an idea to us. And also, if you ever want to reach out to us, you can always email us, TEConnect@BlueStarInc.com. You can find us on X/Twitter at TEConnectPod. I don't know if anybody's even really using that strange site anymore at this point.
Everybody's still on X.
But if so, you can find us there. We're doing a little bit of posting there as well. And please make sure you are following BlueStar on LinkedIn as well to keep up with what we've got going on. All right, let's wrap up as always first with value to the VAR. This is our way of kind of wrapping up our conversation. In this particular, what I wanted, Raimon, talk a little bit more about ELO.
Yeah.
And, how are you guys helping with the whole smart stadium conversation? How are you help making the stadium smarter? How are you help making it more exciting for fans? More importantly, how do you help VARs go out there and win some of this business?
So I mean, Dean made a mention earlier about our modularity and our modular design, right?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
He's on it.
Teed it up.
Right? You keep me up, right? I'm knocking it out of the park, hopefully. So, with our unified architecture, one platform for every touch point. You think about retail, hospitality, gaming, transportation, the medical space, the OEM space. There's always a need for an interactive device, but it's got to be purpose-built, commercially ready, commercially built, and also easily manageable. Our modular design provides customers the building blocks to configure the multiple solutions, no matter what that application is, right? So you have the ability to, look at the current generation, next generation. I've worked with Elo for 10 years, and I never say that we are a touchscreen manufacturer. I always say that we are an innovation company. Because we spend so much money in R&D, we are always making sure that we have the latest, greatest, best techs for our partners, our end user customers, our distributors, obviously, and just making sure that our product is second to none. True, tried, true, tested, retail hardened, ready to be used in any different application.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And talk about second to none, their ISV community, which is the other part of the equation, right? If you're a reseller, you need to have the right partners. Elo always has such a strong ecosystem of ISVs that can really do applications. Everything that we've talked about here today, they got people that can help do that. Yeah, for sure.
Agreed. And one more thing I'll add, because I remembered this earlier when you mentioned KDS and talking about like back of house stuff. That's another part of the sometimes people may not think about. Is like, hey, there's plenty of opportunities for displays and technology and handhelds and whatnot behind the scenes. Especially again, if you are diving in that ISV community and you're working with folks, there's a lot of these stadiums are interested in data. They're interested in how they can manage crowd flows, how they can figure out the best and most opportune places to put concession stands, and all that data has to flow somewhere. There needs to be people being able to work that stuff. Imagine having nice, amazing touch screens that you can use to manipulate and work on all that data, or having nice handheld devices that you can use to access this stuff while you're on the go. So don't forget about back of the house when you're out there trying to win some of this business in the back of the house. Yeah, they want good. They want cool, good technology. It's not just for the consumers, like. The people working hard in the back, they want to be working on something nicer than something that was built in 2001.
Got that right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up as always with what's TEConnecting with you. This is our fun segment where we get to talk about anything in the world of tech, science, business, innovation, just something that's got our attention. We feel like chatting about this week. Raimon, I'll let you kick off here. What's TEConnecting with you right now?
TEConnecting with me right now is mobile devices. Really thinking about mobile, making things easier. I do a lot of business in the QSR space and retail space. Just seeing ways to make things easier for customers, right? There's so many different. I'm glad you brought up the whole ISV community as well, because there's so many different net new software vendors that are out there trying to find out who's legit, who's not, what's their platform, how does it integrate into the different applications. I feel like what John just mentioned about the back of house. That's huge. I mean, the back of house is sometimes almost bigger than the front of house. So really what's TEConnecting for me is mobile devices and making things easier for the customer.
Good stuff. We love mobility around here, don't we? Yeah.
Big time. All right, what's TEConnecting with you, Dean?
Well, so this is more of a beef, I guess.
This
is
like a good
commentary.
Tech beef.
Well, there's no technology here. It's just a commentary on how home prices in California are they're just mad at this point. Okay, so here it is. Oh, by the way, are you in the market for a new home?
No.
And Raimon, we were just talking about
dying in the one I'm in.
You recently moved out of California for reasons, so I guess you're not in the home. But if you were in the market for a home, would a home that comes with a built-in meth lab be appealing to you? Raimon, are you buying one with a? No, maybe
we haven't legalized that yet, right?
I am selling on that.
Here's my TEConnect. Only in California can you buy a 1.5 million home, and here's how it's whatever posted. Now's your chance to own a luxury California home. By the way, if you see the picture, it ain't luxury, dude. It is like a rundown fence, like a police fence around it. I'm legit now. Complete, but it comes complete with a Met lab. So it's a 6-bedroom home in San Jose. Great location, easy access to the freeway. Blah blah. 2,700 square feet, and then they sheepishly mention, this is a great opportunity for a large home. Blah blah blah. Home has inactive meth lab and meth containment.
Whoa.
Maybe if you want to film like Breaking Bad 2 or something,
1.5 million for this run. Yeah, I'm going to show you a picture of the house, John, just so you can react to it.
Okay, all right, yes.
There, that's
all right.
1.5 million. Come on now.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes. You got to go see this house, but I just think home prices have something is completely out of whack. If you have a rundown house, which basically this is a rundown house with boarded up windows and a meth lab, 1.5 million.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. I mean, I would at any price. I think I would pass on a home with a meth lab.
Well, just the fact that they put it in the description, like it's legitimately in there. Like, oh yeah, sheepishly, we have an inactive meth lab here.
I guess that's the new. This house did have a murder in it, but you gotta have those disclosures. You gotta mention what's happened there. So
I don't know, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
You would think somebody would make an effort to go in and maybe take that stuff out or clean it up before putting it for sale. But I guess I don't know. There's a lot of fixer-upper folks out there. There's people out there they like a good challenge. They like a good project, and I don't know.
Aren't you kind of destroying this house and starting over at that point in time? I mean, I don't know a lot about meth labs.
I would have to think
completely
also,
admit,
if you're the person buying this, you have to be automatically put on some kind of a list to be watched, right? Like that's
right.
got to put you on the FBI's watch list.
Yeah. This guy bought the house.
All right, this person might be legit. But I feel like we should keep an eye on them just to make sure. So.
Oh man.
All right.
Anyway, what's TEConnecting with you there, John?
All right. So wind turbines.
I love wind turbines.
Big popular things. Steadily growing, a great way to create some renewable energy.
Sure.
We're starting to see them popping up more and more. But for the most part, people think there's a benefit to them. Maybe certain ex-presidents, for some reason, have beefs with them. I don't know.
Everybody's opinion's changing.
But one concern about these things, which is a legit one, is what happens to the actual blades of these things when they either are out of service or might break.
Okay.
Something goes wrong, because you're talking about a very giant, massive thing that is not easy to recycle in any way. So what could we possibly do with them?
What do we do with them?
A UK research company has started working on some potential ways to repurpose them, and one of the things they found out apparently is making them into footbridges.
Oh, brilliant.
That's
brilliant.
It's kind of interesting. So there's a company there called, I don't know if it's supposed to be Rewind or Rewind, because it's like RE-
got it. Yes,
wind / wind, and probably wind, I would assume, since it's about, wind turbines.
Yes.
But they predict that by 2050, there will be 43 metric tons of waste blades that we've got to find out something to do with. And apparently right now, and this is where you kind of this is where you unfortunately cringe when you think about hey, these great efforts to renewable energy. Well, apparently that particular segment of renewable energy so far is in favor of we just either incinerate them or put them in dumps when we're done with them. Really? You're kind of offsetting what you're trying to do here.
Didn't help, right,
so this company's looking at ways to repurpose them, and one of the ideas is what they call blade bridges. So they basically, there's only 2 of them that have actually been completely set up and constructed so far. I think one's somewhere in the UK and one's in Ireland. And basically, they've done stress testing, checking them out of hey, how can we take these and saw them off or whatever, and just use them to create a nice bridge somewhere that people can walk across.
I like it.
It's a very simplistic use. We're not talking about anything mind blowing or interesting new here, but just a way to repurpose something that otherwise, again, could be dumped into a landfill or burned and add bad stuff to the atmosphere that way. Some neat innovation coming out of that people are trying to repurpose these things.
I didn't even think that was a problem, but clearly
there
it is.
There you go. So
we
again,
got 43 whatever.
Check out the show notes. There's a link there where you can see what these look like and see what the bridges that have been constructed.
Fair enough.
Just interesting stuff there.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, that is what's TEConnecting with us this week. Raimon Chikhani, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate having you on the show. We do have to unfortunately disconnect today. Unplug, I guess that's what I usually say. 170 episodes and I forget my own taglines. So until next time, hey, let's throw some sports metaphors in here. Go out and hit a home run, score a goal, body check your competitors, dunk on some digital display opportunities, win some business, and as always, folks, please stay connected. The TEConnect podcast is brought to you by ELO. All right, Dean, we talked a lot about ELO's modularity and all the cool connectivity that they have today.
We have the Pro on today confirming all the modularity.
That's right. Yeah. Well, built with versatility in mind, ELO Edge Connect offers a wide assortment of peripheral options for your digital displays.
Nice.
Whether for endless aisle, self-order, collaboration, you can seamlessly attach up to 4 peripherals to the touchscreen edge with flexibility to add, remove, or change later as needed. Some options: temperature sensors.
Yes.
Status lights.
Yes.
3D or conference cameras.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Barcode scanners.
Of course.
Card readers.
Yes.
Collaboration tools. Payment cradles.
Yes.
A lot of the stuff that you might use.
Look at all this
modularity. Stadium.
Heck yeah. ADA compliant stuff, right?
Yes. If you can't find peripherals to meet any of your customers' needs, you're just not trying.
At this point, no.
Why are you in business? Come on. just I don't know.
Add-ons. Yes.
Go do something else. Go open a flower shop or something.
Right. There you go.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, maybe technology is not your thing.
Right.
To learn more about ELO's Edge Connect, check out the link in the show notes or contact your BlueStar account manager. The TEConnect podcast is also brought to you by Zebra. Dean, it's that time again.
It is?
And I'm not talking about the holidays.
Oh.
Although you and I are pretty big fans of bourbon. If anybody wants to get some of that for us.
Oh, yeah.
We're
going to talk about bourbon now?
No, I've actually got to do an ad here. So
okay, sorry.
We can talk a little bit more later. But, a Zebra, if you, or ELO, if either one of you want to do a bourbon-themed ad, I'm happy to take care of that for you, too. So,
yes, sir.
And samples, too. Yes, and samples if we're going to do that. It's time, the time that it is.
Yes.
Is to upgrade your customers to the latest products and solutions from Zebra Technologies.
It is time.
And BlueStar, we've also done it again.
What? We have?
Yeah.
What do we do now?
It's actually a good thing. Don't worry about it. Good. We've combed through your sales history for Zebra Technologies, and we've put together a custom report that will enable you to find and capitalize on low-hanging fruit easily. Now, your customers may be using outdated technology or unsupported operating systems on devices that you originally sold them years ago. And we all know we want new stuff. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
If you're not having these discussions with them right now about refreshing their devices, upgrading to the latest technology, you can bet some other company will. So get out in front of it with our help. All right, what can you expect out of your refresh report?
Yeah.
Well, we've got historical sales data from 2015 to 2022.
Nice.
It's useful. Upgrade opportunities like converting 1D scanners to 2D imagers.
Nice.
2G or 3G devices to LTE enabled.
What the? Okay.
And EOL Windows to Android.
Holy moly. Wait, can I get this right? I'm a reseller. I'm sitting back. I'm going to get a report from BlueStar on all this fascinating information about how I can refresh the base. Yeah. And then I've got products from Zebra that will take care of all this.
We're doing it for you.
Wow.
I mean, seriously, why wouldn't you do this?
Exactly.
The report also includes expert recommendations, resources to help you with upgrade conversations, and more. So sometimes the simplest sales are the ones you've already made.
Absolutely.
Get your Zebra refresh report at the link in the show notes or contact the BlueStar Zebra team.